Welcome back. Now for your 5-day weather forecast, we go outside to Natalie Stoberman.
We may have dodged the rain once again, but we may not be out of the woods quite yet. Here's your complete 5-day weather forecast. We had a bit of a warmer start this morning, and later today we'll reach a high of 9 with some variable cloudiness. Tomorrow, these clouds will transform into some light showers, and we're still expecting heavy winds moving at approximately 40 kilometers per hour. Sunday fun day will move back into overcast skies, moving into early next week. On Monday, we'll be warming up to a high of 10 and a low of 4, but it will feel like 8 degrees Celsius. Tuesday, we will cool down a bit with some isolated showers, moving to a high of 8 and maintaining the same low of 4. Now that's all for your 5-day weather forecast. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Natalie. The Senate has returned to the upper chamber today in a rare Friday session to continue the debate on the possible suspension of 3 Conservative senators. The Senate is voting on whether Patrick Brazeau, Mike Duffy, and Pamela Wallin will be suspended without pay after an ongoing scandal regarding travel and housing expense claims. The RCMP have investigated the claims, but no charges have been laid. The Senate met yesterday from 9 a.m. till midnight with no final decision. The Conservative caucus is split over the motion to suspend the 3 senators, but are pushing for the closure on the matter. The vote may be held as soon as next week.
European leaders meeting in Brussels say U.S. spying may harm terror-fighting operations. EU leaders released a joint statement saying that a lack of trust could hinder intelligence gathering corporations. France and Germany say a new understanding is needed, and they're urging talks by the U.S. by the year's end. The delegation from the European Parliament will be in Washington on Monday, seeking answers from U.S. officials.
Police in England believe they have found what could be Britain's first firearm made from a 3D printer. Greater Manchester Police suspect they found a plastic magazine and trigger. A man has been arrested on suspicion of making gunpowder, but he claims the pieces were spare parts for his printer. Manchester police say the parts are going through further forensic testing to establish if they could be made into a viable firearm. Earlier this year, a law student in Texas posted instructions on how to build a 3D printable handgun online.
An elderly Australian couple have been unwillingly used as drug mules after winning a free trip to Canada. The prize included 2 plane tickets, 7 nights accommodation, and free luggage. The 72-year-old man and 64-year-old woman became suspicious on their return to Perth and alerted airport customs. Australian Federal Police say 3.5 kilograms of methamphetamine were hidden in the lining of each of their suitcases. A 38-year-old Canadian man was arrested Sunday and was charged with importing commercial quality of border-controlled drugs.
The Italian Coast Guard has rescued nearly 800 migrants from Africa in 5 operations near the island of Lampedusa. Southern EU nations have called for support and resources in helping migrants. European Council President Herman Van Rompuy announced today that EU leaders have agreed to take action in preventing the loss of lives at sea. Earlier this month, over 350 people died after a migrant boat sank off the coast of Lampedusa.
And now with your sports news, here's Shali Lee.
Thanks, guys. Both your Humber Hawks soccer teams are in OCAA action today. The men took on Sheridan College in the semis at 11 this morning at Algonquin College, while the women are in action against the Algonquin Thunder at Sheridan. Kickoff for that was at 2 in the afternoon. Algonquin and Sheridan should watch out, though. Humber's Laura Walcott and Mario Oristano were named 2013 All-Canadians by the CCAA last night. Congratulations from all of us here at Humber News to Mario and Alora. The Toronto Argonauts took down the Winnipeg Blue Bombers last night, 36-21. Argos QB Ricky Ray was unstoppable, passing for 505 yards and completing 39 of 45 passes. Ray also completed 21 straight passes, breaking a team record. The win gives the Argos the Eastern Division title and a bye straight to the Eastern Final. The Argos finish the regular season next week at home against Montreal, but Ricky Ray won't be playing. Argos coach Scott Milanovich said he'd rest the QB, saving him for the playoffs. David Clarkson will be back in action for the Toronto Maple Leafs for the first time after his 10-game suspension. Ahead of tonight's game against Columbus, Clarkson said he'd try to keep things simple.
You know what, that's one thing I can't do, right? It's easy when you've been suspended to come back in the lineup and try to overdo things. I've got to just come in and take it step by step and but play what I was brought here to do. That's go around.
Sounds like a good plan. The puck drops at 7 Eastern. Ivory Coast midfielder Yaya Toure has said black players may boycott the 2018 World Cup in Russia unless the hosts crack down on racism. Toure's Manchester City played CSKA Moscow in Moscow on Tuesday in Champions League group stage action. However, Toure was subjected to monkey chants from the home fans throughout the game. Manchester City has filed a formal complaint to UEFA. And the Fall Classic just keeps getting better and better as the St. Louis Cardinals take Game 2 off the Boston Red Sox with a 4-2 comeback win. Though St. Louis scored first, Boston had a 2-run sixth to put the heat on the Cards. They responded with a 3-run seventh inning, with the injured Carlos Beltran driving in the go-ahead run. That splits the series even at 1 apiece as we go to Missouri. And that takes us to our game of the weekend. It's Game 3 of the World Series as we head to St. Louis. The Cards will be happy to have split the series in Boston, as now they go home to Busch Stadium, which the Cards have turned into a fortress. They're 5-1 at home in the postseason, and playing in a National League park, the Sox will have to find somewhere to put David Ortiz, and he may put in a shift at first base. First pitch is at 7:30 on Saturday night. That's all for sports. I'm Xiaoli Li. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Xiaoli. After the break, we'll get the latest in entertainment from Faiza Amin.
The bloom comes off a Hollywood couple's rosy marriage, and I have your weekend movies. All that and more coming up on Entertainment.